Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about The Flash, episode 223, titled The Race of His Life, which premiered Tuesday, May 24th, 2016 on the CW. And guys, it's the season 2 finale. And for me, it's actually been an hour since the episode has finished airing, and I am still completely blown away, and I'm still confused as hell, trying to figure out all this time traveling stuff. If you can't tell right now, my voice is still off, so bear with me, but I really wanted to talk about this. So I'm going to go 15 minutes this time because there's so much to talk about. And let's begin. So, something new that we learned in this episode. So this immediately takes off from where the previous episode ended, and that is with the death of Henry Allen. So this episode, features the funeral for Henry and how everyone on the Flash team is present. And Barry is truly fueled over by his rage over Zoom. Whoa, hold on. Yikes. So we see that. So we actually see two plans going about in regards to how to defeat Zoom. First plan is without Barry, because the team locks him in the pipeline, thinking that he's not in the correct state of mind to go against Zoom and defeat him. So with that said, the team has the plan of Cisco opening up a breach, and then right when the time is right, after Caitlin lures Zoom to the correct position, Joe is meant to use that boot device on Zoom, and then he's supposed to trank him. And then Dr. Wells is meant to blast Zoom and push him into the breach to Earth 2. And then they're supposed to seal it up afterwards. Good news, their plan worked. Bad news, Joe also got blasted to Earth 2 with Zoom. So that's a bit of a setback there. So, forcing them to move to plan B, especially when Wally finds out that they consulted on what to do with Zoom without asking him, especially when they're talking about closing the breach permanently with Joe on Earth 2. So Wally gets Barry out of the pipeline, and they go with Barry's original plan was to race Zoom to determine who's the fastest man alive, which is what Zoom wanted. The reason why the team locked Barry up, though, to begin with, is because if Barry did that race, then it would generate enough power to set off this pulsar machine that is meant to destroy all the other worlds in the multiverse. Not seeing much of another choice here, Barry has to agree to race with Zoom in exchange for Joe unharmed. So basically, Zoom is going to race around this pulsar machine, and Barry is meant to catch and stop him. And if he does that, then he wins. If not, then Zoom gets enough energy to generate the pulsar machine, and he proves that he's the fastest man alive. Because there's a point for the machine where there's no point of return for it. So throughout this whole race, Barry actually creates his own time remnant, and the two of them work together to stop Zoom, in the sense that one Barry deals with Zoom while the other Barry goes and saves Joe and returns him to the others, then also creating his own, I think, polarity or something, or his own pulsar at the bottom of the machine to counteract whatever the machine was generating. Unfortunately for that time remnant, he runs himself out of existence, but it was enough to destroy the effects of the pulsar machine. So he sacrificed himself to save everybody. So there's that. Barry manages, because Barry created a time remnant so close together, this enacted the time race to appear. And instead of targeting Barry, they actually target Zoom because he's done a lot more damage to the timeline. So they actually suck out his soul from the looks of it, and they take him back to wherever it is time race takes speedsters. So that is how Zoom is defeated, thanks to Barry's quick thinking. So there's that. Also, we find out the identity of the man in the iron mask is actually the real Jay Garrick from another Earth. Turns out that Jay Garrick, though, is played by John Wesley Shipp, so he is actually a doppelganger of Henry Allen. And he's actually the Flash of his world. So I guess you could say he's the 1990s version, or he's the 1990s Flash from the TV show, where John Wesley Shipp was playing Barry Allen. So that's pretty cool. You got to see him all decked out in his suit and everything, and you actually see him taking the helmets that the fake Jay Garrick was using as he was masquerading as the Flash of Earth 2. So there's that. So in the end, we see the real Jay Garrick taking Dr. Wells and Jesse back to Earth 2 like they wanted, before he heads home himself. Later on, we see Barry also telling Iris that he's not ready to start something with her because he feels so hollow inside, despite the fact he just defeated Zoom. But Iris is willing to wait. And just when you think that's all that is, Barry goes and runs back in time, and he stops the Reverse Flash from killing Nora on March 18th, 2000. Night, everything changed for him. And we actually see Barry from the season 1 finale fading in the background closet as he sees that his mom was saved. So there's that. So what was the most shocking moment of the episode? The fact that Barry went back in time and saved his mom from the Reverse Flash. I mean, I don't even know. Hang on. I needed a good drink of water before I started this, because I don't even know where to begin. This is where my whole confusion comes with the timeline. Okay, because originally we got the first timeline, and that is the regular straight through, and that leads us to future Barry from 2024. The one that Earbark Thong decides to fight. And that's the Barry that comes back in time to March 18, 2000, and stops Earbark Thong from killing his young self, little Barry. So he saves him that, but then by doing that time jump, Earbark Thong kills Nora Allen, which changes the timeline for that future Barry, if I'm correct. Does that mean future Barry's still alive? I have no idea. I think the Speed Force would protect him somehow. I have no clue if that's the case. Where has he been this whole time? But anyways, life without Nora Allen leads to that little Barry growing up into the Barry we meet in Arrow in season 2, which leads him into being the Flash we meet in season 1, and then the Flash that we've been following repeatedly ever since. And then you see him time travel in the season 1 finale back to that night, and that's the Barry that's in the closet. But he doesn't intervene with the timeline, so the timeline still continues forward the way that we know it's supposed to continue. However, jump back to Barry, this Barry, again, time jumping back to that night in the season 2 finale. And that is the Barry that alters the timeline by stopping the Reverse Flash from killing Nora. Now we see the season 1 finale Barry disappear in the closet. Don't know what that means. Does that mean because he disappeared because that time jump never happens now? Or does it mean something else? So now we have this season 2 finale Barry altering his own future or his own past, which makes it realigned to what it was supposed to be originally. But then what does that happen to this Barry that just time jumped? Does that mean he just erased his own existence? Existence meaning the fact that all the experiences that he had to go through to get him to that point, since they've now been altered, he's not really going to be that same person now. So what does that mean for him? And that's where my confusion comes from. And if anyone has any idea what that means, let me know in the comments below, because I swear time travel will cause my head to spin like crazy, and I will not understand. Even me writing it down and trying to figure out, okay, if it's this version of Barry, then it's this. Because usually, if you mess with the past, you kind of erase the future version of that person. But we've always seen that they're still here, existing. So it's like, so confusing. Anyways, let's move on to the top 3 favorite moments of the episode. First one has to be the way that Barry defeated Zoom. Clever plan. Very, very, very clever. It's very cool to see him bring in the time remnant of his own self, and then to see him make that time remnant make its sacrifice of what was happening. And then there's also just the way he used the time race to defeat Zoom without actually him killing Zoom himself, which would have had him lower himself to Zoom's level type thing. I just thought it was really clever. it was great to see that Barry was able to think that out logically instead of just being in the moment and using the rage to fuel his actions against Zoom. So it was just really great to see him go about this way in defeating Zoom. I wasn't expecting it at all, so it's definitely well done there. Next favorite moment for me has to be the goodbyes that were given to the Wells family, especially with Dr. Wells. His goodbyes with Caitlin, with Cisco, with Joe, with Barry, really shows how far he's come in his interactions with these 4 people, especially since if you compare it to when he first came to this earth, it's very different. So much growth has happened, so much of a change in their dynamic, and I absolutely love it. Even Dr. Wells told Barry that because he's been here, he's now a better man because of it. And he owes the team because of that. And then he even pretty much tells Cisco to come on over with his vibe visions and have a visit on Earth too. He's being sentimental with the team when before he was just always down to business. And I really liked him on the team, and those goodbyes just make me really wish that he wasn't leaving, because I really like his addition to the team. I hope we see him back again, him and Jessie too, because she had her own goodbye with Wally. But yeah, I wasn't ready for them to go, but I really liked that they got a proper send-off for sure. And excuse me, last favorite moment for me has to be the fact that we got to meet the real Jay Garrick, which is I guess this version of the 1990s Flash. Because we did see an image of that version of the Flash through the portal, or through the tunnel that leads to Earth 1 and Earth 2. But they've made it so that in this version of the show, Jay Garrick is the Flash of another Earth, but they're still, instead of using a different actor, they're actually using John Wesley Shipp, who played the 1990s version of the Flash. It was great. Sorry, it was great to have them officially introduce this new character, even though we've been under the impression that we've known him since the beginning of the season. But then also still play homage to the fact that John Wesley Shipp did play an earlier version of the Flash. So I really hope that made sense. I really like how they did it. It's very bad timing for Barry, in the sense that he just lost his father, and now he's just meeting the doppelganger of his father, so it's kind of messing with his head. But it would have been interesting to see the doppelganger stay a little bit longer, or at least be known in the fact that you are the doppelganger of my dad who just died type thing, but apparently they don't have that conversation. But I hope that now that this Flash seems to be on their side, that maybe we can see more of a jump or more of a collaboration between the two, maybe, or maybe they're not going to until Barry is comfortable enough to see his dead father again. Or I guess now that he time jumped, that's not even going to be an issue now. I don't even know. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Also, another favorite moment, and number one, I guess you should mention, is the Barry and Iris scenes, as well as the Barry and Wally one. After the funeral for Barry and Wally, I really liked that little moment they had between each other. And then moving on to Barry and Iris at the very end, when she's telling him that she's willing to wait for him like he's waited for her to be ready, and how they had their first official kiss, I guess you could say, because other timelines they have kissed, but then they've always been erased because, well, he time traveled. And then also them saying that they love each other, and then Barry saying he always will, and that's before he time jumped again. So it's just great to have him have those moments with them. All right, moving on to top 3 peeved moments. I only have the one, and it's the fact that Dr. Wells and Jessie are leaving for Earth 2. I really wanted them to stay. I really did. But now that Cisco can open breaches, maybe they can visit. Or like Cisco said, maybe he could visit through his 5 visions more often. It'll be interesting to see, but I hate to see them go and not have them around as often. I hope they're there often. If that makes sense. Anyways, moving on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this finale. The fact that Barry defeated Zoom, huge one. And the fact that Barry altered the timeline the way he did. That was like a major game changer right there as well. So there's that. But moving on to random questions. I got so many. And there's the timer. Alright, first question though. With Barry altering the timeline the way that he did, what does that mean for him? And then what does that mean for everyone on The Flash? And would the people on Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow be affected by this altering of the timeline? I think I mentioned it before when trying to figure out the whole timeline thing earlier. But one thing I don't know is the fact that whether this finale Flash is still going to exist after changing the timeline the way that he did, because then if he does exist, then whatever happened to the future Flash that originally saved Barry from the Reverse Flash in the first run? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm so confused. But please let me know in the comments below if you have an answer for that, or if you can point me in the direction of a comic book that has the answers to that. I'm bound to come up with a link for a wiki page that can help me out. But next question, will we see the Wells family again from Earth 2? I hope so. I really, really, really hope so. There were 2 great additions to the team. But yeah, I hope so. There's that. Next question. Is the real Jay Garrick staying on Earth 2 with the Wells family and keeping up with the symbol of hope that the fake Jay Garrick had established over there? Or is he going to head back to his own Earth? And he called it Earth 3, but is that supposed to be the same Earth that Supergirl is from? And maybe that is, and if that's the case, maybe that's why she's never heard of the Flash name, because that Earth's Flash was imprisoned by Zoom. Maybe that's why they never heard of the name before, but we really need to have Supergirl brought up again on the show. Because Earth 3, they gotta distinguish if that's actually the Earth 3 for Supergirl, or if it's Earth 3 of this Jay Garrick. So hopefully we'll have answers for that. And hang on. Alright, last thing, predictions. Since it is the finale, all open for predictions. So, season 3 predictions. Flash is still airing Tuesdays at 8, starting in the fall. So, no time changes there. But, prediction-wise, based off what happened in this episode, the timeline is truly messed up. I have no idea how things are going to play out now. Don't know what's actually going to change. Definitely the dynamic between Barry and Iris are going to change, because now if Barry still has parents, then he has no reason to stay with the West family. That means his relationship with Joe is going to change. So those are the only major things I can think of that can change. Don't know if he's still going to meet with the Star Labs team. Don't know if Eobard Thawne is still going to take over Harrison Wells' life the way he did originally. Don't know if season finale Barry is still going to remember everything, if the little Barry is living out this new version of the life. I have no clue. But summing it up, timeline is truly messed up now. But moving forward though, question. If this season 2 finale Barry is going to stop existing now, is he going to stop existing now because he has changed his past? And if that is the case, then which Barry are we meant to follow in season 3? Again, time travel really confuses me. Don't know which versions we're going to follow or what exactly applies for timelines, because usually when you screw up your past, you kind of erase the current existence of yourself, because you've just erased all the experiences you've just had. So Wondering if that's still the case here. Wondering if the Speed Force is protecting Barry from that. But hopefully we'll see. Another thing, though, if Barry stopped Nora's death from occurring when he was 11, does that mean his new future lines up with the future that Eobard Thawne was tracking through Gideon, which had that Barry getting his powers 2 years later on than our season 1 Barry got his powers? I don't know. Again, very confusing. But I have the whole summer to contemplate just how all this time traveling thing works, and trying to figure out what parts of the timeline are really going to change because of Nora being alive. Or are we going to have to worry about the timeline trying to fix itself with all these little minor tweaks to it, and which Barry first experienced in the middle of season 1 when he time traveled for the first time. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. So that's about it, guys. What do you guys think of the finale? What do you like about it? What do you think is going to happen next in season 3? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as your own thoughts and theories and opinions about what's to come. If you want, well, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I usually reblog promos, sneak peeks, quotes, GIFs, synopses, all of that. I'm a little behind on that right at the moment, though, but usually all of it is found on my Tumblr, so check those out. And if you want, follow me there as well. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the quality of my voice. Again, I am sick and trying to fight through this. But I should be back soon with a new video for Flash. Basically, it's going to tell me my top 5 favorite episodes of the season. Sorry, so I hope you check out that when it comes out. Hopefully I'll be better by then. But until then, this is Mel, wishing you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Until then, bye for now.